Thank you for joining us here. 7 o'clock, 2 minutes from now, we're going to ring the bell. Now, I understand the bell is to be rung here today by the Director of the Sustainable Development at the UN.
Right.
Oh, you are here. Welcome, welcome. Oh, I was in English. Let me introduce you anyway, because you'll be doing this. Nikhil Seth, do I pronounce it correctly?
Correct.
Thank you. Nikhil Seth is Director of the Division for Sustainable Development, UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. 3 times he will ring the bell, and then our minute of silent prayer and meditation. I know that this year many of us will be thinking of John McConnell, the late John McConnell, the man whose vision has brought this about today. On, we hope, unto perpetuity. So we have people who have been very close to John, worked with John, written some books, and will have some memories and thoughts to share with us. Thank you. I know that I'd like to hear soon from John Monday Jr., who's edited a wonderful book about John McConnell. And if we could now retreat to the warmth of the United Nations lobby, we'd like to hear more about this and hear some music, some more performances, and to round out our celebration. Those of us who were downstairs a moment ago were able to again repeat the ceremony that we conduct every year, as you know, here with the ringing of the bell. The bell was rung this year for us by the Director of the Division of Sustainable Development of the United Nations, Nikhil Seth, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, and that was followed by a moment of silence in memory of John McConnell, about whom we shall hear a little more later. But first, a message from Dr.
Thank you. On the 43rd anniversary of Earth Day, it is a solemn honor for me to read this message. At precisely 7:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, the sun started to cross directly over the Earth's equator. The moment of the equinox, when both hemispheres get the same amount of sunlight and days and nights are equal in duration, is a time for reflection and introspection. It reminds us to care for our people and our planet, both under severe stress. Awareness of these pressures and a determination to act to alleviate pain, suffering, address human deprivation, and the environmental crisis have never been greater. The greatest challenge that humankind is facing is how to build an equitable and balanced economy in a world of finite resources. Only 9 months ago at Rio, world leaders called for holistic approaches to end poverty and promote sustainable development which will guide humanity to live in harmony with nature and redouble efforts to restore the health and integrity of the Earth's ecosystem. The equinox conjures a vision of equality and balance in nature. We need this equilibrium between human, economic and social aspirations as well as the Earth's carrying capacity and ecological boundaries. The Earth's many bounties, the air, our atmosphere, our land, our water, our forests, our biodiversity, our oceans and seas, our climate system have to be stable and healthy. This is our inheritance which we, as its custodians, need to nurture, restore and bestow to our children and grandchildren. The ringing of the peace bell, the otherworldliness of the sound reverberating gently through the early morning air reminds us of the twin commitments we have to protect our planet and secure the lives of all its inhabitants. Let us cherish this moment now and make it the guide to our future actions. I thank you.
Thank you for your say. It was John McConnell together with Margaret Mead who really established the event as it should have been and is as a truly global event. It was Margaret Mead who said that this, if there was to be a holy day, then this Earth Day at Equinox is that. We'd like to talk a little about John McConnell, and no one perhaps better here to do so than John Munday. He's here. He has he's edited a book about John, has known John at least as well and probably better than most of us, and I'd like to ask him to offer a few reflections today here about the late John McConnell.
I first learned of John McConnell in the 1980s. He was calling me where I work, asking my help in publicizing Earth Day. I admired and was very impressed by his persistence. He called repeatedly. Finally, I came to New York to meet him. He showed me around this building, around the UN, and described his role here in various ways and his activities with the Earth Society Foundation. Gradually, I learned more about him. He was forged in his character by various influences early in life. He was the son of a Pentecostal traveling evangelist. He witnessed miracles in his early life. He was affected by his father's zeal for Jesus Christ. He often mentioned his father's collation of all the sayings of Jesus in a document he called The Commandments of Jesus. And he was especially interested in the Sermon on the Mount. Interestingly, his father encouraged him to make up his own mind about religion and philosophy. And this led to an independent streak in John McConnell, which those of you who knew him will recognize. So he accepted Jesus Christ as a young man. At the same time, he was long interested in science and technology. From patriotic conviction, he joined the Merchant Marine in World War II and spent some months in the South Pacific. Then he was drafted, and then when he was asked to take target practice, his zeal for Christ took over and he refused to shoot at a target, thinking he was shooting at Jesus. This passion for peace and tranquility documented his whole life. He spent many days in a brig because of his refusal. Later he went AWOL and he actually spent time in prison. This zeal for pacifism continued and marked his life. He spent an hour every day in the morning praying and asking the Lord for ideas on how to promote peace on earth. In 1957, he was publishing a newspaper in North Carolina. Sputnik was launched. John wrote an editorial suggesting that there be a satellite for peace, a beacon of hope, which he called the Star of Hope. In 1963, he gained worldwide attention because he promoted the idea of a minute for peace, and it ended the period of mourning for President Kennedy, who had been assassinated on November 22nd, and the Minute for Peace was held 30 days later on December 22nd. This idea was publicized worldwide, and by 1965, on the 20th anniversary of the UN Charter, Secretary General U Thant proclaimed Minute for Peace Day. The peace bell we have rung this morning had its first official ringing as a part of a Minute for Peace ceremony. New ideas kept coming. John was a fountain of new ideas. In '67, he developed the concept of the Earth flag, a flag with a picture of Earth seen on a dark blue background. The Earth flag has been everywhere since, even in outer space. In 1968, he conceived the concept of Earth Day, a geophysical holiday promoting environmental stewardship and Earth care, and his intention was to promote peace by encouraging people to join together in environmental stewardship. He said this: Earth Day is built on peace, justice, and Earth care. You can't have peace without justice, and justice requires care of Earth. He discussed this idea with anthropologist Margaret Mead and others here at the UN. She endorsed it, saying, Earth Day is the first holy day which transcends national boundaries. Later, in October 1969 in San Francisco, he arrived at the idea of holding Earth Day on the spring equinox. He approached city supervisors in San Francisco, and he proposed Earth Day at a Unesco conference. The city accepted the idea and decided to hold the first Earth Day the following March, on March 21st, 1970. It was the first Earth Day held anywhere on the planet. John often quoted Psalm 115, "The earth hath he given to the children of men." John concluded from this that all people on earth have an equal claim to the earth's resources, and so he was a passionate advocate of economic justice and conserving our planetary inheritance. In June 1970, he drafted the Earth Day Proclamation and began collecting signatures. He collected 36 signatures from worldwide leaders. The last was Mikhail Gorbachev in the year 2000, and by this time, John was already 85 years old. To promote Earth Day at the UN, John moved to New York City in April 1970, and he obtained the support of the Secretary General then, U Thant, who addressed the first UN Earth Day celebration here, and he rang the peace bell. Thus, this year's celebration is the 43rd annual celebration of Earth Day here at the UN. Mrs. A.A. Thant, who is the daughter of U Thant, says in the foreword to John's autobiography, "My father signed the United Nations Proclamation on February 26, 1971, to set the spring equinox as Earth Day at the United Nations." And she quoted her father from that address in 1971, "Man's future and man's environment must be conceived and managed wisely if he is to survive and prosper." Isn't this just as true today as it was 43 years ago? And isn't it John McConnell who birthed the idea that has drawn us all together here today? In fact, all celebrations of Earth Day, no matter what the date that is honored, owe their existence to John's idea of having a special day for planet Earth to remind everyone to work for peace, justice, and care of Earth. John said, "We live on an amazing planet with a web of life. To continue the human adventure, our priorities are to care for Earth, to eliminate injustice, and to leave a planetary inheritance to future generations." John asked the question, what is our purpose and future on Earth? He answered, "Our best chance for the future is to pursue policies and choose actions that applied worldwide will benefit everyone." John's legacy in the larger sense, from his 97 years of life, completed last October 20, is this in his own words: "Love your enemies, find common ground, accent the positive, work together where you agree, and leave room for differences. Love will find a way.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Normally in our schedule, immediately after the ringing of the bell and the moment of silence, we ask the violinists to join us again, and they are with us again, the Turumi violinists under the direction of Yukaka Turumi, and accompanied by Guillermo Grasa on the accordion. Turumi violinists have performed for 3 Secretaries General, including General Moon, and their opening song has become a standard feature of our Earth Day ceremony tonight and today. This is it today, and we'll join us again a little bit later in this ceremony. I'd like to ask Helen Garland. Helen Garland is here. Helen is the chairman of the chairperson of the Earth Society Foundation, and has words and was very closely involved with Margaret Mead, and has reflections on this event. This occasion.
The whole point is to thank each one of you. It touches so deeply that so many people have this concept with it illustrates the one itself. So anything I say is a welcome to every single person here, because you're going to carry this on. Now that's the most important possible statement I could make. But I did make some notes to say that, of course, John McConnell gave us the key words of peace, justice, and care of Earth. I guess that's why we're all here. Margaret Mead gave us these words, and I marvel at her ability to say things in a way I don't know how many other people in the world can do this. Earth Day is the first holy day which transcends all national boundaries, yet preserves all geographical integrities, spans mountains and oceans and time belts, and is devoted to the preservation of the harmony of nature, and yet draws upon the triumphs of technology. Earth Day draws upon an astronomical phenomenon in a new way, which is also the most ancient way, using the equinox when the sun crosses the equator, making night and day of equal length in all parts of the earth. Earth Day begins with the striking of the peace bell, joined by the gongs and bells ringing around the world. The celebration offends no historical calendar, yet it transcends them all. And I was sent here by my college. The guards were interested to hear in 1945, when it was a late success, and I was 18, 19 years old, And I had no idea that I was embarking on the most peculiar life while I thought I was doing something else, like raising 4 children and doing my civic duty locally, and then therefore globally. And Dr. Ralph Bunch told me that his office on the 38th floor of the Secretary General was illustrative of the United Nations, that I could use it, everything was open, his files were available to me, whether he was in the office or not. So I got to know all the guards and all the people that really take care of this building and preserve the fact that we can all use the United Nations appropriately every day of our lives, affecting the entire Earth. And thank you, Mr. Seth, for being our representative on that. I can say that after 68 years, I can say it's been very exciting and worthwhile. And I just also wanted to say that we have those who have preserved for so many years and recognize that the Equinox is proof that we all are a part of Earth's natural systems, the universal systems, and the United Nations was created to represent our own world, our universal world. Let me thank some of our longest supporters, some of whom are in the room right now, as well as those that are ringing bells in New Zealand and in California and in Europe, all over Europe. And of course, Tante's daughter, Tante, is ringing the gong at the most important pagoda in Germany, Myanmar. So we're sending greetings to all the people all over the world that have helped us in the past, but to you that really count that you're here today. And I hope to see you many years more.
Moment of musical break, and I'd like to introduce a multi-talented instrumentalist, Russell Tabbs. Russell Tabbs is with us now, yes. I should say that he's known internationally for many different styles of music, flutes, saxophone, and composer, arranger, and producer who has worked with Sting, Santana, Whitney Houston, Herbie Hancock, Billy Joel, James Taylor, and Lady Gaga. Russell Tabbs.
Good morning, everyone. It's really an honor to be part of this wonderful and meaningful event this morning, and I apologize that Lady Gaga apparently was not available. I tried my best to reach her, but we can't have everything. Again, it's a joy to be part of this event. I was prepared, gloves and all, to play outside, but I thank you for having us back indoors, especially the violinist. The wood, I'm sure, doesn't get along with the wood that well. I'd like to perform just a short piece, and it's actually written by my teacher, Sri Chinmoy, who led the meditations at the UN Peace Meditations for years and years, and it was always a great inspiration to me, musically, spiritually, on many levels. This is normally done as a vocal, but I'm just doing it instrumentally. It's called Peace, God's Beauty in His Oneness, Home.
as you may know, World Water Day, or imminently today, tomorrow? Friday. Near enough. This is World Water Celebration, as it were. Probably we ignore that this, our water planet, is very vulnerable and perhaps the most vulnerable in its water. And that's why the United Nations is much concerned with this right now, rightly so. And we'd like to hear some words about this from Estimia Bekrakis, a science intern with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, Unesco, who have always been our supporters for Earth Day, and I hope will continue to. Some words now about water and our planet.
Hi, good morning to all. In the light of International Earth Day, it is essential to reiterate the importance of preserving a sustainable planet. It is never unnecessary to repeat how vital it is to protect our environment, especially in the context of recent challenges we are faced, such as climate change, biodiversity loss, desertification, rapid urbanization, and global water-related challenges. In December 2010, the United Nations General Assembly declared 2013 as the International Year for Water Cooperation. The objectives of the year are to raise awareness on the importance, benefits, and challenges of water cooperation, enhance knowledge and develop capacity for water cooperation, spark concrete and innovative action toward water cooperation, foster partnerships, dialogue, and cooperation around water as a top priority during and beyond 2013. And lastly, strengthen international cooperation among institutions, users, social and economic sectors, and others in order to reach a consensus on sustainable development goals for the post-2015 era, which will effectively address our future water needs. UNESCO has been chosen to lead the implementation of the International Year of Water Cooperation because of its scientific work in the field of water and also because of its interdisciplinary nature, bringing the social, educational, and cultural aspects of water-related issues. Let me use this opportunity to share some examples of ways in which UNESCO contributes to the global effort to better manage our common water resources. UNESCO's Institute for Water Education in Delft, the Netherlands, trained nearly 15,000 water professionals from 160 countries. The majority of them come from developing countries and they return to their homeland as policymakers in the field of water. The Delft Institute focuses on water management, urban water and sanitation, water science and engineering. In addition to this, our International Hydrological Program is the only intergovernmental program of the UN system devoted to water science and water resource management, as well as education and capacity building. With its partners in UN Water, UNESCO is hosting the World Water Assessment Program that provides an ongoing global assessment of the state of the world's freshwater resources. In the field of post-disaster, UNESCO has also been very active, especially after the floods that affected Pakistan in 2010. Our experts have cooperated with their government for a better mapping of drinking water resources so that the civilian population is able to have better access to drinking water in possible future critical situations. Last but not least, UNESCO has helped in the area of water cooperation in helping countries sustainably manage shared water resources. We must never forget the role water has not only in maintaining and preserving life, but as a contributor to poverty eradication, social equity, gender equality, and environmental sustainability. In one simple phrase, water cooperation builds peace among nations by bringing them together and sharing their water resources and preserving life in every shape and form that might take. As you already know, the upcoming World Water Day is on the 22nd of March, will also be dedicated to water cooperation. And on behalf of UNESCO, we are hoping that it will be an excellent opportunity to raise awareness of the importance of water cooperation around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kakos of the Unesco, the Organization for Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, but it is also supporting organizations outside the UN that support the UN, perhaps the best known is the United Nations Association. And Vasha Brewster is the president of the UNA, the United Nations Association of the USA, is Westchester County and the former senior officer of the Water Resources and Sustainable Development Division of the United Nations. I'd like to ask her if she can perhaps continue this theme and bring us an additional perspective on water and our planet.
Thank you very much. Our colleague from Unesco has already told you about the International Year of Water Cooperation, so I will just add a few more words. Good management of water resources is especially challenging because of some of its unique characteristics. It is unevenly distributed in time and place. The hydrological cycle is highly complex, and water, like air, falls in the realm of the global commons. Oceans, streams, rivers, and groundwater should not be owned. We must use them together. They belong to us all, and we need to agree on how to use them sustainably and equitably. Moreover, water is considered sacred in all religions and traditions, and thus we should value water as a precious resource rather than as a commodity to be bought and sold. At the same time, rapid urbanization, pollution, and climate change reduce the availability of our freshwater resources, while the demand for water increases for food production, industrial and domestic uses of a growing population. Water is not confined to political borders. 46% of the Earth's terrestrial surface is covered by transboundary water basins. An estimated 148 nations have international basins within their territories, and 21 countries lie entirely within an international basin. There are 276 transboundary river basins in the world, 64 in Africa, 60 in Asia, 68 in Europe, 46 in North America, and 38 in South America. As a shared resource, water needs to be managed in a way that takes into account a wide variety of competing interests. This provides opportunities for cooperation among users. Thus, the General Assembly designated 2013 as the International Year of Water Cooperation, recognizing that cooperation is essential to strike a balance between the different needs and priorities among numerous political and economic interests. By sharing this precious resource equitably, water can be used as an instrument of peace. Water cooperation requires an interdisciplinary approach, as mentioned by our colleague, including cultural, educational, and scientific factors, as well as ethical, religious, social, political, legal, and economic dimensions. Of course, Friday is the 20th anniversary of World Water Day. This year in New York, the anniversary will be marked by a high-level interactive dialogue on water cooperation held at the UN General Assembly. World Water Day and the International Year of Water Cooperation aim to raise awareness and the potential and challenges for water cooperation. We invite you all to be part of the solution by working together with your neighbors to protect watersheds, water quality, and our local ecosystems. Thank you very much.
And now, familiar to you, to Rumi Violins again to join us. This time, I should mention that these are selections from your coming CD. It's called The Toreadors and Take 5. And I should also mention that in addition to all the other occasions, you have played for Queen Sylvia of Sweden, President Clinton, and His Holiness the John Paul II, and now from your CD, some selections. Thank you. Now, to bring you up to date on what's happening in the rest of the world, because this is a global event, and Anne Charles, who each year works quietly, relentlessly behind the scenes to help make this possible. All your pictures, all your cameras ready? Catch this. Thank you.
I think I'll speak for myself.
Please,
Why
please.
not?
Anne Charles, here she is, and to tell us what's going on in the rest of the world.
Okay. I usually give the bell ringing around the world report, and that's what I'm going to do today too. Bells are expected to ring on the exact moment of the spring equinox at Eucalyptus Magnus Church in Thomas, Lithuania by Father Kestutis, and bells will ring in many other places around the globe, including the UN International Center in Vienna, Austria. Bells will also ring in the 3 Catholic churches in Kosovo, namely St. Anton's Church at Pristina, the Late Good Hope Church in Trina, and St. Paul and Peter's Church in Shapala. On March 20, the City Hall Square in Vilnius, Lithuania, will become a meadow with blooming flowers created from recycled materials by an artist, Gerda Vilke, and school children from Vilnius. This is how the Ministry of the Environment will end its project. I am green, a good message for children. On the same day, a large number of school children will be in Kaunas, organized for the 6th year for the only environmental magazine for children. Luta Chukai will raise the Earth flag, created by John McConnell, and ask the world to save our Earth. The magazine, Lutute, encourages young nature-loving children to participate in environmental programs, and the Lithuanian Ministry of Environment supports such initiatives too. Bells will also ring in Ireland, Paris, France, London, Rangoon, New Zealand, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and in states across America, including New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Louisiana, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, New Mexico, California, Oregon, Alaska, and Hawaii. So you see there's a whole lot of bell ringing going on. The bell ringing report also salutes Dr. Parad and Joanne Tofilis, Executive Director of Art Miles Mural Project. This is what this Art Miles Mural Project does. You know, they have about 5,000 murals in many different themes, including, of course, the environment. So she sent this from California just for you today. And we wanted you to take a good look at it. And I'm going to tell you what it means. So we always give credit to her for all the great things that her and her husband do. And this mural is called the Environmental Mural Mile, created as a tribute to a healing gesture to victims and survivors of Mother Nature's natural disaster, Hurricane Sandy, that hit New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. As she said, the world is becoming more aware of the impact of global warming and often depicts those events through mural art. From the Pacific shore to the Jersey shore, this mural was created by international students and Mexican-American communities of California State University, San Marcos, and will be presented to Governor Christie, who heads up the relief effort there. By the way, Joanne, besides being the co-founder of Art Miles Mural Project, is the National Commissioner, U.S. National Commissioner for Unesco. Her never-ending list of bell ringers this year will include Finland, Fiji, China, Kosovo, Japan, South Korea, Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Czech Republic, and many others. I mean, you can never get enough bell ringers. She's just an unbelievable person. Whenever I need something, hey, can you send me this? Send me a mural of that, or had murals of Anna and John McConnell. So I never saw so much energy from one person, but it's there all right. And also, you know, they had other reports from Taiwan, Slovakia, and many others. Portugal? Oh, all right, there's Portugal right over there. So we'd like to take a few pictures and Michelle Shepherd, who works with us here. And I think you really have a beautiful background with all these lovely children. And we want, to teach them about the importance of the environment and start at an early age. I like the ideas that we see here. And I like the idea, too, of doing something, rebuilding, returning, restoring, and being these little Earth people, right? They are Earth people. And they could always support all the ideas from the Earth Society Foundation and its founder, John McConnell. And this is for him and for the rest of the world. Good ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've spoken about John McConnell here today, and to get another perspective on John, Robert Weir, I believe is here today. Robert, if you would, I should say that you are the author of John McConnell's biography, Peace, Justice, and Care of Earth. Tell us about it.
Well, John McConnell often said, peace comes from an honest understanding of another person's point of view. We can summarize that as peace through understanding. We can attain this peace through discussion, dialogue, diplomacy, détente. I practice it with stories. In the last 3 years, I've traveled to India 3 times for a total of 10 months. I lived among the people in a basti, a slum. I've sat in the chapel, the commons area, with men of my neighborhood, and we discussed religion, politics, and culture late into the night. Most of these men are Muslim, some are Hindu. A man from whom I learned much and who made my kurta is Sikh. A good friend practices Jainism. I was raised in the Christian tradition. So we have our different religions, but we all understand that God is good. I've played caroms with teenagers and tutored a high school student. I've participated in major holidays like Durga Puja, Diwali, and Eid al-Adha. People in India ask me, where are you from? I say, America. And they want to know more. They want to understand. These people who are too poor to travel want to know what it's like to live in America. John McConnell and Anna McConnell inspired me to travel in this manner. When I was researching the biography of John and Anna, Peace, Justice, Care of Earth, I lived in the same senior housing complex where they lived. That was in Denver, Colorado, and I became friends with their neighbors. I invested 5 months at the Peace Archives in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, poring over thousands of documents that John and Anna McConnell donated to that beautiful facility. And I stayed in the home of a wonderful Quaker gentleman who taught me about his religion. We shared meals, and I learned more about Quaker meetings. That was in 2005, and that was my immersion into peace through understanding. I've since lived in many people's homes, ordinary homes, with everyday people in many countries. My purpose for being in India is to co-author a book about the education of slum-dwelling children in Kolkata, India. When I'm in the Western world, I tell stories about the people there, the children, their joy, their laughter, even in the face of poverty. I tell about the differences between their lives and the way people live in the United States and the Western world. My purpose is to create peace through understanding. I want people to know that we are more alike than we are not alike. I want people to know that we are all part of the one human race. So I ask you, what stories do you have to tell? With whom do you need to communicate? With whom can you create peace through understanding? The answers that you give to those questions will determine how you choose to live the legacy that John McConnell brought to us. Thank you, John. Thank you all.
those of you who have a program here, I hope you'll disregard it long ago. I'd like to ask Russell Tubbs to return if he could. He performed for us before. He's multi-talented. There's many different instruments, and here he is again to offer us Russell Tubbs.
Thank you again. I know it's getting near time. The sun's coming up. Time to get for people to get to their normal jobs. Time to in a few more hours. Most of my musical friends will start waking up. But it's great to be probably one of the earliest musical gigs I've done since I can remember. And again, I'd like to close with a short piece which you probably are more familiar with. Just kind of doing it off the top of my head from memory. I believe the history of it may be a Quaker tune called Simple Gifts that the great composer Aaron Copland expounded upon in some of his works. So I'd just like to close with a little version of conversation.
I'd like to ask Thomas Dard, who's the president of the SSI Foundation, and he's now ready to join us.
Thank you so much. Happy Earth Day, everyone. But you know what? Maybe that's not the best greeting at all, that we could have. So I'd like to offer you instead a different one. Hopeful Earth Day, everyone. Let's say that. Hopeful Earth Day, everyone. I'm an admitted news junkie, and I find myself reacting very differently to different types of news. When I hear about another catastrophic weather event, I don't even want to read the story. I don't want to know how many inches of water displaced how many thousands of people, or how many homes were burned, or how many island nations will soon be underwater. This kind of news is almost too much to bear. Then there are the articles about new technology. As a lifelong technologist, I'm exhilarated by news of longer-lasting car batteries, low-energy nuclear reaction, and advances in techniques that lower our carbon footprint. Perhaps it is my endless quest for the silver bullet, the next great cure, the all-encompassing solution. There's a third sort of news, but it's hard to find in a world that's saturated with data, but lacking in meaning. I'm talking about a few individuals who make news by the power of their intellect, or the simplicity of their faith, or the happenstance of their lives. They connect the dots for all of us. These are not ordinary scientists or ordinary preachers or ordinary civil servants. They are the few who make the leap of imagination, the leap of understanding of a world in a new way and in a simple way. Margaret Mead, John McConnell, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Gandhi, and a few others come to mind when you think of people like that. They want to answer important questions like, can we create a symbol or some words that crystallize the beauty of our planet and combine them with the important work for all of us? As we ring the peace bell, you know, the Earth Day, Earth Flag, Earth Charter are examples of that kind of clarifying voice. As we ring the peace bell today, let the sound waves focus us like a laser from the complexity of the news to a mental state that asks us simply if we are working for peace, justice, and the care of Earth. Thank you.
I'm tempted to indulge a privilege here. I once said to John I would say this at his funeral. Well, I wasn't at his funeral, but it's a ceremony for today. John and I should say, had many disagreements and disputes often about the role of religion in a essentially non-secular world, in a setting like the United Nations, and different religions, no religions, what would you do, how would you handle that? And John had pressed his case, and I think perhaps it had been slightly damaging, and I think that he had agreed on this occasion, whatever it was, that it had been so.
Yes, I have something to add. I think it's very important. Last year on Earth Day, we had a paragraph about the International Day of News, and because it was so dark, Kevin couldn't see. I mean, we had to have some kind of searchlight or whatever it was to say it. And I just want to, and there are a few people here, this is a very important day. And I just wanted to make sure that you get the message today too. Because the United Nations officially celebrates the International Day of News. It's on March 21. And amongst the spring equinox and the beginning of the new year, it's a day of renewal of nature and peace. In anticipation of spring, I attended a big ceremony this week in the General Assembly. And although it was really March 18, sometimes when the dates may vary, not the dates of the equinox, which are usually March 20, 21. And as I said, they celebrated on March 21. But sometimes when, let's say, if they're trying to get space in the General Assembly, they sometimes make it a day earlier. I'm sure never a day later. But it was a beautiful ceremony, and it's for anticipation of spring. And Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, India, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkey, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan, they held an official ceremony in the UN General Assembly on March 18. They had musical performances and statements. So I wanted to say, Happy International Day of News, and the way it works, they the issue of Happy Earth Day